Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Scorpio in the month of September 2018. Hi, Scorpios. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are all doing well. As you can see, Scorpio, I went ahead and I shuffled off camera to save time. What I'm going to do now is shuffle for your outcome and your overall, your overall energy. Once all cards are out and they're face up, that's when the reading will begin. You can see the time for that in the description box below. There'll be a timestamp there for you if you want to go ahead and get to that point and skip over all this chit-chat. Also down there is information on getting a personal reading with me. It's about 3 or 4 simple steps. You just follow those steps, and then we'll hook something up if you are ever so inclined in getting a personal with me. General housekeeping... no, I don't think so. Everything is business as normal. Well, your video today, I'm shooting today, and I've opened up the windows. It's like a gloomy, rainy day, and I was saging, so the window's open, so you might hear more from the outside world. That might be the actual wind, or the rain, or the dogs barking next door, whatever. So I hope that's not too distracting for you, and I hope it's not too distracting for myself. But I felt really compelled to have like the windows open and the blinds are up, and it's not the best view that I have, but it is nice to see the outside world when I do these readings sometimes. Anyway, let's go ahead and get your outcome for September, please. Scorpio's outcome, September 2018. And once again, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope the tail end of all that crazy retrograding from August is letting you down gently. I think for some it's going to be kind of like a rude awakening, it feels like, for some people as I've been doing these readings. For some, not so much. There's the overall, or the outcome, and here's the overall on the bottom. But that's neither here nor there, because we're talking about you now, Scorp, right? So, flip the remaining cards over. Let's see. Wow, what? And I'm saying wow because that's a lot of reversals. Just straight up, that's a lot of reversals. Neither good nor bad, it's just a lot. Alright, Scorpio in September 2018. Where's Scorpio, please? Here? Alright. Thank you. Okay, Scorpio, coming into September 2018, you come in as the Ten of Wands in reverse. Show it to you upright, in case you're not familiar with this deck, the Cosmic Tarot deck. Oh boy. So, Ten of Wands in reverse. This is good. As I get into it energetically, I feel this is good for you. Like, I think you've been feeling as of lately, maybe maybe August, July, the entire summer of 2018, or sometime before then, you've just felt really like stuck and overburdened by something, or a particular person, or a particular situation, a scenario, circumstances. In some cases, this might be a health issue for some people, and you just were weighed down by this energy. You were weighed down by this, like I said, this person or this circumstance in your life, and you are in some ways releasing it, in some ways, not always, in some ways you're releasing it. So I think for some of you, I think mentally you're releasing it. Mentally you're trying like not to focus on it. You're just like, okay, look, this person or this situation at my job, whatever it is for you, Scorpio, really stresses me out. So you're actively doing things to distract yourself or to actively try and get over it. But again, it's not completely like, being that the Ten of Wands is in reverse, it's like a reduction of that burden. It's a reduction of how trying and overwhelming a situation has been for you. But, and even though a 10 is usually a culmination of an event or a culmination of a phase in your life, I still feel like this lingers on. Because you have, like, me noting these all being in reverse, like, normally I don't want to address the cards fully before I ask where the Zodiac is. I try not to get into it, but like it was very blatantly obvious. All of this is in reverse. And what does that mean? It means that something isn't actually complete yet. Something isn't actually fully realized, isn't fully rectified, or there's not a proper solution to whatever's going on. Okay? So in this particular card, a card of burdens, a card of strife, a card of struggle and hard times, a lot of it is going away, but not all of it is going away. Okay? So I think like I said, if you know something is stressful, you might be distracting yourself. Or you know something is really burdensome to you, so you just try not to do it as often. Maybe it is the actual job that you do that is stressful to you, Scorpio. Maybe you actually have a job that is physically taxing for you. It's physically demanding. And so maybe now you're moving from full-time to part-time. You still need to make money. You still have bills to pay and responsibilities and all of that, but you just can't physically do it as often as you were doing it for X amount of years. So you're trying to augment or edit whatever this situation is. If it's a relationship, you're trying to augment or edit that relationship. So if it's a romantic thing, a relationship with your parents or your children, whatever, there are things that you're trying to do to make it more pleasant, to make it easier, to make it less of an issue that, I don't know the specifics, I'm not getting that right now, but just getting along is how I'm feeling it. You want to get along. You want to get along better. Maybe not, a complete turnaround, a complete 180. I don't feel that because, again, everything is in reverse, which, again, is indicating that something isn't fully done with. There's just this stuckness and this inability to kind of traverse something. So, in a way, Scorpio, it's like baby steps or something, or like I said, an edit or an augmentation. You're not getting everything that you want. You're not getting all of the resolution that you're hoping for, all of the change that you might want, or that somebody else wants or needs in the situation. But something is moving on, or something is being released. And let me see this again. Even though this is a Wands card, I do feel like mentally, it's more of a mental thing. Okay? So, something about being smarter. Yeah, I think, okay, thank you. So, it's feeling like you're trying to sort of outsmart the other person, or outwit the other person, or get ahead of the game in the situation. You're not in a manipulative way, although I guess it could be, now that I'm seeing who's above your starting position. It could be for some of you in a manipulative way, but generally I'm just feeling like I have to be smarter about this. I have to go about this in a smarter way. So again, it's like, for those of you where this is like a job situation, it might not be about physical demands on your body. It could be just other types of demands, like emotional demands, or, you're full-time, but every week for the past 3 months, you've been working 45 hours a week, and you're like, this is too much. And you need to get back down to just doing a full 40. Whatever it is for you, Scorpio. And there's something going on where you're trying to think a step or two ahead of the person or of the scenario that you're involved in order to get back to square one, or get to a position where you can then begin to make these bigger changes, to release this other energy, which is a lot of trapped energy here, especially here and here. We're going to talk about that. And that's Saturn, right? Or Saturn, Jupiter, one of them. So, if it is Saturn that I'm getting from this, yeah, the retrograde is over. So there could be a lesson in here. Tell me more about that, if that's true. Okay. And for those where this is tied to the Saturn retrograde that just came up on the 5th, I think it just finished on the 5th, where Saturn was in retrograde for the last 5 months, so since April. there may have been a situation in your life since April or thereabouts that's kind of coming to a culmination point for you now, Scorpio, or you're coming to some sort of revelation about it. And I get a power dynamic, right? So some of you may have lost your grip on something, your power in some way. For some, it's like an issue of leadership. Or it was tested. Maybe you didn't lose it, but it's been tested. Like you've been going through a lot of dramas involving your position as a leader or your position as someone of power. And people have been sort of testing you, or certain situations have come up that have tested your ability, tested your know-how, tested your fortitude, your integrity, all of these things. And like it's sort of been like this nonstop energy of, you know, bombardment, being bombarded with challenges. And you've stayed in your position. I don't think like anybody necessarily like lost a position of power or lost a position of leadership, but I think there were constant challenges to that position, constant challenges to, like I said, your ability to function in that role, okay? It's very general, but when I put it down, they were like, no, we're not done. I was like, okay, fine, we're not done. But now I think we're done, okay? Here, yes, the Magician. Okay, so above you, or very much near you, is the Magician in reverse. Show you upright, just in case you're not familiar. And the Magician, traditionally in the Rider-Waite deck, talks about someone who's a manifester, somebody who has the will and the whim and the way, or something like that, to create whatever he wants, because he has all four elements at his disposal. Like you see on the card there, he's got the cups, he's got the cup, he's got the sword, he's got the wands, and he has the pentacle. Why won't you focus? Be my friend and focus. That's a little better, I guess. So he's got all those elements in front of him, and I'll show it to you upright so you can just see it a little bit better. And he's an enlightened person. You know, he's got the beam coming out from his third eye. He's got the infinity symbol on his, I guess you could call it a crown, or not a tiara, but headband maybe. So traditionally, the Magician is someone who actively seeks to become a manifester, or become a catalyst, or a vessel in which to create whatever he wants, whatever he desires. Like I said, he has all of the elements in front of him to make it happen. In the reverse, and even when he's upright sometimes, but in the reverse specifically, this is a manipulative energy, or an energy that isn't so full of authenticity or integrity. There's something false and okay, fine. Dangerous is the word they want me to use. Dangerous. There's something manipulative or dangerous about this particular instance of the Magician showing up in reverse for you, Scorpio. Is this you? Is this Scorpio? Some. It's some of you. So some of you are in this energy. So please don't get offended that the word dangerous and manipulative came out. Those words. That's just kind of what I'm guided to say. So if that like kind of stings a little bit for you, I think what you would be careful is basically the underlying tone of this. Whether you are the Magician reverse, if you are the person who's, you know, using this energy or functioning in this way, or someone else around you is doing this, Scorpio, whoever it is, this person needs to be careful, because certain choices that are made have ramifications, have consequences. Certain behaviors have ramifications and consequences. Certain words and conversations and dialogues that you have will have ramifications and consequences. You can manifest, you can make what you want come to light, but if you go about it in a not so great way, a way that is manipulative, a way that might be dangerous, a way that might sort of circumvent or cut corners, you're not going to succeed. Okay? Thank you. They cleared that up for me pretty good. Because I was like, what the hell is going on? I don't like this. I don't like the way this is going, but they made it clear for me. So basically, you do have something that you want to change this position or something else, right? So again, it could be a work situation. You do want to work your regular 40 hours. You don't want to work any more overtime, or you want to go from full-time to part-time, or in a relationship, you want to get back to a nice copacetic point between you and your partner, or you and your children, you and your roommate, whoever. You want things to be a certain way, which is, a nice little underlying theme of Scorpio's life anyway. You want things to be a certain way, and that way is your way. And that's... Don't be offended by that either, I hope. That's just me being playful, because I do know a few Scorpios in my life, or I've known a few Scorpios throughout my life, I should say. And Scorpio has a way of, like, letting people be who they are, but also being like, look, I don't mind that you're being that way, but you're being that way, and I don't really care for it. It's like, Scorpio has like a, sort of like a 1-2 punch kind of approach to people and relationships and situations. Like, oh, this is great, I don't mind this, but at the same time, I'm not pleased and I want to leave. Or I'm not feeling this situation, I'm not feeling this relationship, I'm just gonna go over here now. Not like, I hope that makes sense to you. Like, you accept, and you really don't, many of you, I should say, don't really want to impose on other people, but at the same time, you're not going to flower away from telling people, hey, I don't like this. Like, I accept what you're doing, I think that's fine, or I understand that you're an individual and this is how you are as a person, but I don't like it. So there's always like an underlying critique in Scorpio's back pocket. That's what I mean. So, going back to the Magician in reverse. You want something, it is distinctly your way. And it doesn't, again, that doesn't necessarily have to mean like you're being controlling or domineering or anything. You could want, everybody to have, ice cream for breakfast, for a week in your household as a fun game or something. I don't know. That's really arbitrary and it's very odd, but that's what I mean. It doesn't have to be like, it's my way and I lead by it with an iron fist and everybody does what I say and I'm a tyrant. It doesn't have to be that. When, that phrase of you want what you want, or it's got to be my way or the highway. Sometimes my way or the highway can be nice, okay? So, don't beat yourself up too much when I use that phrasing. But the way in which you might go about, and it's all potential, right? I need to clarify that. That's all potential. Everything in tarot is potential. Like, I or other tarot readers might speak in definite language or definitive language, but that's not always the case because life is fluid and energies change and people change, and you might have an inclination or or impulse to do something or say something, but then when the moment comes, you don't do that thing or you don't say that thing, and then the energy or the potentiality has been shifted because you didn't confront that person, or you didn't have that conversation, or you didn't go to that meeting or whatever. So, God, they're like having me clarify a lot of things. Like, I have one train of thought and then like they are like, but say this now. And I'm like, okay. And then I have to keep coming back here. So I wonder if that's sort of like a pattern for you, Scorpio, or something like that might indicate something deeper or something significant going on in your situation, which is like sort of sidetracked. Like there's something specific that you're trying to go for, but you keep getting sidetracked. Like I said earlier, distractions, okay? This is going to be a deep one. This is going to be a deep day. I feel it. I'm glad I have the windows open. I'm glad I'm hearing the rain. This is good. Anyway, so something you want, but the way that you go about it, or the way that you might speak about it, or the way that you're trying to manifest it, you might be, like I said, you might be going to your boss at work and telling them, look, these 45 hours are killing me. And maybe you and your boss have like a joking, jovial, very casual relationship, and you're saying all this stuff and they're not taking you seriously. So your way of being casual with your boss in trying to get what you want, the goal that you want, what you're trying to manifest is to come down to 40 hours, not work as much, or maybe even change, whatever, you know what it is. Your boss either isn't taking you seriously or kind of feels stuck. Like, I want to help you out here, Jim, but if I do that, because we're so buddy-buddy, because we're so friendly, like, it's going to look bad. It's going to look bad for your boss. Like, it's going to look like I'm doing you favors. I care about you, Jim, but because we have this kind of relationship and I'm looking out for number one, I'm speaking as your boss right now, Scorpio, I can't really do this favor for you because it's going to look bad to my bosses, or it's going to look bad to other people on the team, and it's going to make it look like I'm favoring you. So you're trying to manifest something, Scorpio, but the way you're going about it is just like, it might not be so successful. Or you might get it, but there might be, like I said, certain ramifications, certain consequences that come with it. And it might not even affect you directly. Like I just said, I was speaking from the position of your boss. And again, this is very general, so please try to apply it in whatever area of your life where you think it applies. But for your boss, there might be ramifications. For your boss, there might be consequences. If they give you what you want, which is fair in the general sense, like if you're so tired and broken down from working overtime and your body physically can't take it, yeah, of course, cut your hours. But to someone else who is in your boss's realm, it looks bad, or it looks like favoritism, or it looks like, your boss isn't, your boss is playing nice with you and they're not treating anybody else that way. Why is Scorpio getting all these favors? Why is Scorpio getting this special treatment? So then your boss is going to have a talking to, or your boss is going to be reprimanded for, quote unquote, doing you this favor, which benefits you, but then now causes a ramification or some type of fallout for your boss. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So in that particular case, being so buddy-buddy with your boss, maybe instead of doing that, you need to have like a formal line of communication. This is just an example. I'm not saying to do this, but this is just an example. If you know that certain things that you say to your boss could be misconstrued as them playing favorites with you, be more professional about it and like conduct an email, write a letter, submit a phone call, or like, hey, instead of us talking about this on our lunch break together, let me sit down with you like during real business hours, take a meeting with you and have like a real discussion about this. Like, so just elevate the interaction, elevate the communication, so that maybe this energy that's in reverse, where again, it isn't, for some it is going to be straight up manipulation or straight up kind of seedy or questionable language and questionable behavior. I don't really like to use the word dangerous, but that's what they said earlier. But, in those cases, definitely really think about what you're doing, think about what you're saying. But in cases where it's not to that level, you just have to think about how you can do it differently. You want the same thing. Just how can I get to that goal? Instead of going in this straight line, which is, me and my boss have a great friendly relationship and that's your straight line, that's what you're used to. Take a detour, take a left, take a right, do something different, and then maybe this energy won't be in reverse and it will come up upright in your favor, and it'll be less of a consequence if there is a consequence at all, okay? I hope that makes sense to you. Oh, that's nice. Airplanes flying over. What's next? And I think, Scorpio, you've had a triplet before, so I think if you've been here before, you recognize that this is something we're going to talk about in a minute. The Hangman, yeah. Right. Okay, so High Priestess in reverse. Show you upright, so you're familiar. Alright, so High Priestess talks about knowledge that is known but not spoken, knowledge that is understood and comprehended but not disseminated, not exposed or readily known. It's not known to the masses. This is like There's a card that deals with the occult. It's a card that deals with esoteric understandings or esoteric subject matter and things like that. And so, also this is a card of intuition, and I think that's basically where this is going, right? The intuition side of it. Yeah. Okay, thank you. We got there. Here, you guys. Anyway, so the High Priestess this time is leaning heavily on the intuition interpretation, with the backdrop of esoteric and the occult. Basically, Scorpio, being a water sign, you innately have intuition, you innately have some greater understanding of the human condition, of what it means to be here on this earth, living out a human life in this fleshy shell that we have, but you still have an innate connection to that internal space, that space of where your soul or your spirit is, whatever you believe in, whatever you don't believe in. If you don't believe in anything, I doubt that you would be watching this. But if you are, I like to make room for those who may not believe, but they're just showing up. But for those who believe in something, again, like spiritually, religiously even, you have that connection to whatever is on the inside of the human body or the human condition, right? And there's a connection between that inner part of humanity or individual humans and something greater, okay? You know that. And I think sometimes that fuels you, that propels you. Or if it doesn't fuel or propel you, it just gives you comfort, or it gives you something to hope for in some cases. Some of you are like, this human thing is not for me. I'm just going to do my time, serve my sentence, and then once it's all over, I'm going back to something greater than this. So some of you view it that way. But regardless, I think that knowledge, that intuition, is sort of not serving you or isn't helping you. Like, you're not really into it. Clear that up, please. Clear that up. Uh-huh. It's not certain. Yes. You guys are so deep. You guys are so deep right now. I can't. Okay, so you're ignoring or distracting, like I said here with the Ten of Wands in reverse. You're ignoring or distracting yourself from this deeper knowing that certain things in your life, Scorpio, are going to be a certain way or have to be a certain way or have to change, or the only way to change them is probably this way, like this is the best route. Like I said, instead of the straight line, take a left, take a right, whatever. You're like, but I want to go straight. And the universe or God or whoever, whatever you believe in, is like, nah, Scorpio, you need to take that left. And you're like, but going straight is the way I know. Going this route is the way that I know best. And they're like, nah, go the other way. Go the other way. It's better for you. And you're like, but I don't want to. I don't like that way. I don't know how to do it that way. I've never done it that way before. I'm scared to do it this way. Whatever. You're protesting. And your intuition is basically like, look, you better listen to me. And you're like, I don't want to listen to you. You better listen to me. And you're being like, you're getting a lot of cautions. Thank you. You're getting a lot of red flags. You're getting a lot of, hey, look over here. Like a lot of notices. Like... for those who are old enough to remember, like, on old PCs, like old Microsoft PCs, where you'd be, like, writing a document, where you open up something and you say, Dear so-and-so, and then that little paperclip guy would pop up and he's like, I see, you're writing a letter. And you're like, get out of here, guy. I don't need you. I don't need your help. I know how to write a letter. Like, it's sort of like that. Something is popping up, or some nagging feeling, some sensation in you. Some of you is like a literal, like, sensation. You feel it, you sense it, you hear it, you see it, you smell it. Some of you, whatever. Your senses are like, boom. It's just like intermediate. Boom. Oh, there's that feeling again. Boom. God, there it is again. And like, not every day, not several times a day. It could be every couple of weeks. You just get like this little inkling that something else should be, I could be going about this a different way. I should think about doing this another way. And then you're like, no. We're fine the way this is. It's fine the way it is. And that's kind of ironic because these two cards are like, no. You want something different. That's it. You want something different, but you want to go about it the same way. Isn't that like the definition of insanity or something like that? No, that's not it. Well, whatever. You guys know that cliche phrase. It's like doing the same thing but expecting different results. Is like the definition of insanity. And don't take that personally. I'm not attacking you. I'm not trying to say that you're insane or anything like that. But it's that idea that I've done it this way my entire life, or I've been doing it this way for X amount of years or whatever, and I want this thing which is slightly different. If I want a thing that's slightly different, it just makes sense. Okay, thank you. If you want to make a sandwich, just a sandwich, you need two pieces of bread and stuff to go in between the bread. And you're like, I want a sandwich. I know how to make a sandwich. Bread, ingredients for the in-between, consume, I had a sandwich, okay? That's the basic principles of having a sandwich, of making and eating a sandwich. Suddenly, one day, you're like, I want a pizza. I want a pizza. So you go into the cupboard and you get your loaf of bread. You go into the fridge, you get your ingredients, your mayo, your mayonnaise, whatever, or maybe you're making a PB&J, your peanut butter, your jelly, or your jam or whatever, and you create a sandwich. And you're like, I want a pizza. Consume the sandwich. And then the next day, you're like, I want a pizza. Go into the cupboard, get the bread, get the mayo, get the mayonnaise, or get the 2 things of mayo, Jay. You know what I'm saying. You get all the things that make a sandwich, not a pizza. You're not changing what you're dealing with, the ingredients that you have, or the things at your disposal. You're not getting new materials or new ingredients. You're getting the same old ingredients, but you're wanting something new. You're wanting something different. That doesn't compute, Scorpio. That doesn't make sense. So, let's take away the silly analogy of food and let's apply it again to this job situation. You don't want to work as much as you have been working. Maybe some of you are older, towards your retirement age. Or like I said, you're physically incapable of carrying on with this physically demanding job or this mentally and emotionally draining job, whatever. It's too much for you. You need to make a career change or you need to go to part-time, whatever. The way that you're going about it is some of you are just complaining and thinking that you're complaining. Here we go. Channel. Get it. Some of you are complaining and thinking that complaining is going to do the job. You're complaining to your coworkers. You're complaining to your manager or your supervisor or whoever. That's not official business. You sitting down at the lunch table or sitting down with people that you talk to at the job and you're like, oh, my back and my knees and my shoulders. Oh, it's too much. I can't take this. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And they're like, yeah, Scorpio, man, that sounds terrible. That sounds awful. You gotta do something about that. And they're like, yeah, man, I gotta do something about that. And that's how the conversation continues for weeks and weeks, for months and months. It doesn't serve you to just talk about it. You gotta be about it. You gotta do something to change that. And your intuition has said, okay, we're complaining, but now we need to go to the doctor and get physically examined to say, hey, boss of Scorpio or company that Scorpio works for, Scorpio has a degenerative disc disorder. That means their bones are crap or they're, I'm sorry, I'm being really, really frank with you. You need a diagnosis. You should think about going to the doctor, getting diagnosed, being examined, having tests done, whatever, that certifies or clarifies or provides documentation that says, I can't perform this task at this job. Please don't have me do this. Because a lot of people are in this situation, in general, in life, not just Scorpios, in general, where you have to work beyond your capacity, beyond your time. Many of us are working later in our lives simply because of economics and the discrepancies, and we're not going to go into that, but you get what I'm saying. And many times, especially in American culture, people neglect their health, their physical body, for the sake of, I need to get to work. And it doesn't mean that this is just for people who are in the working age of, or working towards retirement. That's not it. This can be a young person. There was something I saw weeks ago on the news of a young veteran, you know, I think he was in the Army or the Air Force or something like that, gone off, did his, you know, served his country, did all of that stuff, and came out of the military and worked a hard physical job for Amazon, okay? And if you guys are up on the news, you know Amazon's got some PR problems right now. And this job at Amazon, this is a veteran speaking. I wish I could, like, give you, like, a reference, like, put it in here, but I don't know how to do that just yet. But anyway, he served his country, and then he went and worked for Amazon, and he was doing interviews basically saying, the wage discrepancy is terrible. I can't make a living, really. I'm living out of my car. I'm really depressed, and I'm physically exhausted. I was never this exhausted working for the military as I am working for Amazon. This is a young man in his 20s, right? So again, it doesn't mean that this particular message about the job or this particular message about going to your doctor and getting documentation together that shows you have certain ailments or illnesses or whatever, conditions that make it harder for you to do this job. Follow your intuition. And sometimes your intuition is like that crick in your neck. It is that knee that just won't bend and like you're in physical pain. Sometimes your intuition is manifested that way. It does present itself that way, where you have these physical ailments and they're not going away because you're taking medication or you're trying to do certain physical therapies or exercises on your own. If it persists, it means something more needs to be done. Something more needs to be done, and you're not doing it. You're wanting to continue to do what you know how to do and expecting different results, Scorpio, and that's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Okay? Beneath the High Priestess, you have the head. Focus, you. I want you to focus. Hold on a second, let me see something. And how about that? You like it a little better. Okay. The Hangman, in reverse, though. So, piggybacking off of your avoidance or ignoring of your intuition, you also aren't getting in touch with your basically, you're lacking patience. The Hangman, when he comes up upright, he's open to patience. He's open to the idea that whatever I need, whatever I want, whatever I desire, it will come to me in due time. It will be presented to me, I will encounter it, or whatever. He's just knowing that time is sort of relative. If it happens tomorrow, cool. If it happens the next day, cool. If it happens 2 years from now, 5 years from now, cool. He's open to all of that potentiality. That time is really, like I said, relative, and it will come when it comes. He's not impatient. When he's in reverse, he's not hanging upside down. The perspective is he's balancing on one foot, right? So there is this need to get balanced. You know, you want change, but you're not changing how you go about it. And you want a result, but you're not willing to wait for that result. Like you feel you need it yesterday. And if it is about your physical body, if it is about your health, I can agree. You need it yesterday. Like I understand that feeling. If you're waking up and you're in pain, or after you do your shift at your job, you come home and your body is just wrecked, absolutely you're not gonna feel like being patient. You're gonna be like, I need this taken care of like right now. But again, we come back to these two previous cards. I think these are your big players right now. The High Priestess in reverse and the Magician in reverse is, you know there's something more or different that you need to do, but you're unwilling to do it. You're not changing your approach. You're not changing in some cases, this just might be an outlook. Not in the sense of your physical health where, oh, if I just change the way I think, then some people believe that, but I would question it. But if it's not about your physical body or your physical health, some of you, this is just like an attitude change. You need to change your perspective. You need to change certain behaviors. You need to change certain patterns in your life, right? Whatever it is, all of this is just, like I said, it can't be fully released. Going back here, it is being reduced because you're actively avoiding it, you're actively ignoring it, or you are deflecting from it, you're what did I say earlier? What did I say? Distracted. Thank you. You're distracting yourself from it. And all in all, Scorpio, this is not how you want to treat yourself. This is very self-contained energy. Nobody else is really here. There might be for some of you a shared energy in the Magician. Someone else might be doing things and you're kind of like having to witness it secondhand. You know, this could be the behavior of your spouse or the behavior of your child or your children. Or, you know, in the work situation, it could be your boss. Maybe you are serious. Maybe you are seriously like, hey, boss, I don't feel well. And your boss is like, you'll get over it, blah, blah, blah. You know, you're fine. And they're not taking you seriously. It could be that. But mostly, this is your contained this is energy that is self-contained. This belongs to you, okay? And you have to treat it better. You just have to treat it better. You have to treat yourself better. You have to reorganize, or not reorganize, but you have to rethink how you're going to prioritize yourself, how you're going to get what you want. Basically, you have to make concessions. You have to negotiate something different within yourself, mostly. And I'm feeling a lot of it is a behavioral change. It is the way that you approach certain situations or approach certain relationships. It is, in some cases, maybe some of you are overindulgent. I'm not really getting that, but it could be. But maybe some of you are overindulgent, or a coping mechanism for you is to drink, is to smoke, is to do drugs, whatever, is to stay up late. Sometimes it's whatever the vices are. Sometimes, you know, you can rank them if you want to, but if you know you kind of have an impulse and you give in to certain behaviors that aren't necessarily helpful to you or healthy for you, you got to change it. And once you do that, maybe then some of this energy will turn itself around and things will begin to flow towards what you want to manifest. Okay? All right. So I mentioned it earlier that the triplet came out for you. It's been sporadic. I think for July and August it was pretty solid. Most people had triplets, but I think now there's only been 3 or 4 signs, and you're the, God, what are you? The 8th sign? Right? Yeah, you're 8th sign. So only a few of you have gotten the triplets for September, so maybe this energy is leaving us. And if you've seen those videos before, or if you watched a video of yours and you had a triplet before, you know it's usually a separate storyline. I'm looking at it, it looks very separate. I mean, these are all upright, these are all reversed. There's a little bit more of a dark, not subversive, but subconscious energy. This is more like awareness. Total awareness. So what's going on here? Yep. Okay. So, Scorpio, I think either in the past or concurrently, you're in this 5 of Cups energy. And this has come out for a few signs this month as well, where you feel disappointed, really, really disappointed in something. And unlike the traditional interpretation of the 5 of Cups, where there's 2 standing, all of the cups, as you can see, are knocked over. They're all spilled out, and she is just, she's having to sit there and contemplate what she's lost. So, not to make it trivial or say it so flippantly, but Scorpio, a lot of you have experienced a great loss, and it just sits with you. It sits in your chest. It sits in your mind. It's constantly with you. Now, in some cases, I think this would be a loss of a person, whether it's recent or whether it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. I don't know. But there's a significant loss through death for some of you. that just didn't wreck your life, but it is so profound that you're still like puzzling through what it means. What did that relationship mean? Who was that person to me? Who was I to them? Why were we aligned? Why were we brought into each other's lives? You know, and you could be wondering this about someone who's like related to you. You could be wondering this about a parent of yours, like why was my dad a part of my life? Like genetically, obviously, he was one half of what made me who I am, but like from a spiritual level, you're like, oh my God, this person who was amazing or who wasn't so amazing, but had still this profound and deep effect on my life. You're just like, oh man, you're really in a reflective way stuck on that loss, on that person, on that relationship that you guys shared for however long, for whatever the details are, whether they were an incredible, amazing, impactful person, or whether they were not so great, not so nice, but still impactful. You know, I don't know. And if it's not about a loss of a person, it could just be the loss of a relationship. So some of you, this might be a significant other that you've lost, possibly through death, but for this, I'm feeling more like a breakup. So like a divorce, a breakup, a separation, whatever. And that person, maybe you thought they were like the one. You know, whether or not that's true is irrelevant. You're just sitting in this energy and really reflecting on no matter what the relationship is. And it doesn't have to be a relationship. It can be a situation or a circumstance or a phase in your life or a point in your life where you had such affinity or such a bond with another person. It was like, or a situation. It was like a constant part of your life, and now it's not. It's like day and night, night and day kind of feeling here. And that particular situation or person here, okay. There's certain lessons that you've yet to unpack and unravel from that situation or that relationship. And I think in general, Scorpio, you're just stuck. Here and here, you're just stuck. You can't figure it out. Maybe it's because you're trying so hard, or maybe because you're not patient. You need to know now, and life is like, well, you're not going to know now. You still have some time to think about this, and that's kind of, thank you, good. Because in the traditional Five of Cups, which if you're a regular watcher of tarot videos, you'll know, or if you're familiar with the Rider-Waite deck, you'll know that often the interpretation is silver linings. You lost 3 cups, but there's 2 still remaining. There's some kind of uptake or upswing in this situation. And in this particular deck, one of the reasons I like it is because you can't really say that here. All of the cups are knocked over. She's looking pretty shut down. The coloring of the card is very dark. It's very morose, right? And then outside, where she would naturally be compelled to go or encouraged to go, there's a storm out there. It's not welcoming. So, Scorpio, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, basically, but there is this energy, and again, I think it's in the past or it's concurrent with you, that you're not able to move on just yet. Like I said here when we first picked up this first card of yours, yes, you want to let it go, and in some ways you are letting it go. In some ways you are actively trying to get over these burdens, over this pitfall in your life. But here and here and here and here, it's like, not yet. Can't do it. No. You're not ready. Or the circumstances aren't ready. Other people involved are not ready. And therefore you're remaining because they're not ready. You know, it's very general. I'm not getting like a lot of, oh, this is a love situation. And even the work thing, I'm like, for some of you, it could be work. For others, it's not at all about work. You want to get the hell out of this, but you just can't. You can't. And I think it's because there's just certain realizations that haven't hit you yet, or that you haven't been either they haven't hit you, you're not privy to them, you're not aware of them, or you refuse to be aware of them. You are blocking it yourself. So it's going to be one of two ways. Some of you are like, you kind of know what I'm talking about, you think you understand, or you're like, something inside of you is like, that's it. And a majority of your internal dialogue is like squashing that down. It's like, shut up. No, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to think about that. Blah, 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 right? For others of you, you kind of know what I'm talking about, and you're just like, but I don't have any indications yet of like exactly where the turning point is. I hope that makes sense. Because, yeah, the High Priestess in that case would be working with some of you and your patience and being like, you don't know yet, but I'm going to show you soon. Okay? Now, the interesting thing is you have the Sun right next door to your Five of Cups position. So, the Sun card, Major Arcana. And let me see, the others are majors, but they're not associated with any, like, they can be, but, like, the High Priestess sometimes, just to review, the Magician sometimes might be talking about a Virgo or a Gemini, since it's associated with the planet of Mercury, and Mercury rules both of Virgo and Gemini. So there might be a Virgo or Gemini in your life, but it doesn't have to be. But I like to throw this out here for those who want to know. So maybe a Virgo, maybe a Gemini. And the High Priestess, associated with the Moon card, so we might be talking in Cancer. And in some cases, maybe a Pisces. Sometimes Pisces is associated with the High Priestess. And the Hangman, is that Uranus? Who is... I can't rightly remember. Uranus? No. No, the Fool. Saturn? Or Pluto? What? I can't remember. Oh my god. And I'm sorry. But if it was those, I'm not sure that anyone, I'm not sure. The Hangman, Zodiac-wise, I'm not really sure. I'm sorry. I don't know everything. God knows that. And then you have the Sun card next to your Five of Cups position in the triplet. So, Sun card, obviously associated with the planetary body of the Sun, and the Sun is, of course, associated with a Leo. So there might be Leos or a Leo of significance in your life, Scorpio, but it does not have to be. And there's also, okay, and a child, like, a little bit about myself. I don't really resonate with children a lot, but my guides are like, and a child! Okay, so there might be a Leo child of significance to you, Scorpio. You might have a child that you're a parent of who is a Leo, or there might be someone who, in some way, you feel is your child, or you feel parental towards. It could be a grown person, but you feel parental towards them, and that's a Leo person, and they're significant to you. Maybe. Doesn't have to be any of those signs I mentioned, but I like to bring it up just for those who want to hear it. So, next to you, in some ways, next to you, this person is, like, literally next to you. They, you know, maybe you guys commute together, you guys get on the same bus every day, and you guys have like a little chit chat or something, or the same train and you talk, or next to you, like they live in the room next to you, like maybe you're, you know, maybe this is your roommate or something like that. But there's a radiance coming off of this person, or off of this. Is it another person? It's either another person or like where you're headed. There's just like I mean, look at it. Night and day, right? Night, day. Stormy weather, like outside the window there. Stormy weather leads to sunny weather, okay? So there is this transition that you're focused on, or that you will be involved in. Whether you're like having it as a conscious goal, or whether it's something that you're building towards, whether you recognize it or not. There is this transition that will happen. You know, this whole reading has been kind of down in the dumps, kind of been challenging, right? It's temporary. Everything in life is temporary. Everything in tarot is temporary. It does not last forever. This is not your life sentencing, okay? So you eventually will get over whatever this Five of Cups energy is. you're eventually going to understand what that relationship was with your father, with your mother, with your brother, whoever has passed and gone, or that relationship of the person that you separated from, that you broke up from. You're going to finally know, oh my God, my 8-year marriage to blah, 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 or whoever meant this. And then you get this clarity, you get this enlightenment, you get this abundant radiance in your life that says, oh, Scorpio, you understand. Scorpio, you know the deal now. Now you can move on. It's sort of like a passage. Like, going back to, where were we talking about that? The Magician or the High Priestess or something? Where there's like, for some of you, a spiritual or a religious undertone to all of this. Is like, through suffering, you learn a great lesson. And that's sort of like a tenet of many religions and a tenet of many spiritual platforms or doctrines, or even just like idealisms, right? Where basically through the storm, through the darkest hours, through the darkest times, there will be great enlightenment and there will be salvation. There will be this release from these burdens. There will be this release from this inability to really move on and function and feel really satisfied and just invigorated by life. I think a lot of this lacks invigoration. I think a lot of frustration is here. A lot of like disappointment is here. And in these two cards in particular, there's like this turning point, this turnover for you. All right. And also the Sun card illuminates everything that it touches. It shines its light onto everything that it touches. And in this particular spread, it's touching your 5 of Cups and it's touching the Ace of Swords. So you know, or you're about to know, or something will come along that just puts a spotlight on this misery that you've had, that you've been carrying around with you. And it may not be conscious, by the way. And all of this being in reverse, and I think I was talking about it here, but maybe I didn't talk about it enough. All of this is not super conscious. What I mean, you can be living your day-to-day life, feeling these physical ailments in your body, but not really expressing it too much. It may be to the boss you're talking, but maybe in a lot of cases you're suffering in silence. In other cases you're suffering and you don't even know that you're suffering. Like, you only realize it when, you know, there's a quiet moment and a thought hits you and it's profound and it's really impactful. You know what I mean? So I don't think I talked about it at all, or if not enough before, but specifically with these two cards in reverse and these three in reverse. In order to get by, to live a functioning life as normally as possible, you're not going to be feeling like this all the time. You can't. You can't go to work. You can't hang out with friends. You can't come home and kiss your husband on the mouth and say, I love you, if you're constantly feeling like this. I mean, you can, but it wouldn't be real. And so I think there's just like, there's this like sits with you in a strange, it's like subterranean or something. It's like just beneath the surface is all of this. But you don't express it all the time, but you know it's there. Okay? And the sun will reveal that to you, or is revealing that to you, or this person who is representing the sun, or represented by the sun, excuse me, would be revealing it to you. They would be reflecting it to you. They would be like asking questions or saying certain things that remind you of all of this. Okay? And that's a good thing. It might not sound great because of the tone of voice I was just putting on, but actually is a good thing. The sun, to me, I've said it in a few videos that I've made over the past few months. Knowledge and acknowledgement or awareness is super important, Scorpio. It's super important, okay? Super, super important. All right. And then the Ace of Swords is right beneath it. So it's truthful. Real quick, it's truthful. This realization, this sun shining on your 5 of Cups, the 5 of Cups being an energy that you're very aware of, that you've been living in for months, weeks, years, whatever, is truthful. And there's a certain knowledge. There's a certain knowledge that undercuts it all, or acts as a foundation to all of this. This is very deep. I knew it. I knew it would get deep. There's certain truths or realizations and clarity about you in your life, Scorpio, who you are fundamentally, because this is in your foundation in the triplet, right? Fundamentally, there's a truth about you, a clarity or knowledge about the situation or whatever that just, wow, I haven't made that noise in a long time. Anyway, I feel that it guides you, right? Yes, okay. It guides you, but it also scares you. Okay. Like, because this card touches both the Five of Cups and the Sun. So at the same time that this truth, this knowledge, this whatever enlightens you, it gives you that burst of, like it allows you to traverse and transverse and transform your life. It also is going to confront this Five of Cups energy. It's going to confront your ideas and your emotions and your memories dealing with the Five of Cups. Dealing with the loss of that person, dealing with the loss of that phase in your life, that structure in your life, whatever it was. And you would be apprehensive to recognize this. Because maybe it would reveal to you, because these two in tandem together are great revelations. And maybe together they're going to reveal to you, Scorpio, in some cases, you were your own worst enemy. In some cases, you contributed to the loss. Okay? And that can be hard to deal with, to grapple with, to accept. But you must, if you want any of this to change, if you want any of this to shift and allow you to move forward in a more fulfilling way, you have to realize that some things that you've been avoiding, that you've not wanted to realize, that you've not wanted to reflect on, need to be reflected on, need to be realized, need to be accepted and acknowledged. I hope that makes sense. All right. Oh, we're going a long time. You're going to have the longest video thus far. Outcome for September, Prince of Cups, which is akin to the Knight of Cups in traditional tarot. So this is obviously your own energy, right? Look at that little scorpion there on his chest there, hanging out on his arm, I guess. Yeah, it's hanging out on his arm. So you're in your own energy. You're in your own light. And that's funny that I use that word because there's not a lot of light on this card. Like you've got some light emitting from the cup. You've got some light there on the staff. And that's about it. It's mostly a dark, shadowy energy. But like I said, you're in your light. So you're in your comfort zone, I think, the outcome. It's like, I think a lot of this is but you might not do a damn thing about it, Scorpio. You might move some, but it's not like, what do I mean by move? You might make moves on this in some ways, but it might not be enough to get you out of this darkness, to get you out of the shadows and into the light. So the transformation or the changes that you want within the month of September and thereabouts a little bit afterwards is not really going to push you as far along as you might want it to. Okay? It could be because you might not be changing your behavior the way that you should or the way that would be most beneficial to you. It could be that other people are not doing their part. Whatever. It's not a loss. Let me be clear about that. It's not a loss because I think you're having this realization about yourself. I think that you're recognizing certain patterns in your life or certain repetitive scenarios in your life, and you're like gaining some type of clarity and knowledge from them that you can use for the future. So I think, like, in a way, Scorpio, this is almost like a preparatory energy. It's like you're getting back to who you are, which is a very powerful person. Scorpios are very powerful. You're getting back to knowing the ins and outs of who you are and what you can do and how you can manifest and move through your life. Because with this being reversed and the Five of Cups being very, like, downtrodden and reflective, I think you've kind of lost a sense of yourself. And so the Prince of Cups coming up in your result, or excuse me, your outcome, would show that you're getting back to who you are. You're getting back to understanding yourself. Okay? Overall energy for the month, King of Cups. So more water energy. As you can see, it would be with your brother or sister sign, the Cancers. And I think that's sort of like what you're... Yeah, thank you. So the Prince of Cups, being that he's in the suit of cups and the King of Cups, that's all about your emotions, your emotional capacities, and your abilities to navigate what you understand about yourself and understand about your world from an emotional standpoint. And the King of Cups is the master of that. He knows how he feels at all times, whether it's good or bad, whether it's positive or negative. He can say, oh, I feel happy today, or I feel depressed today. And he is able to acknowledge that within himself. Does he express it? Not really. He would be more reserved and less expressive than, say, the Queen of Cups. But the mastery is the point. The mastery is the key here. I think for you, Scorpio, mastery is the key here, or the overall theme. Having a mastery, having this scope, being able to see the playing field, all of it, at one time, see all angles of it, is sort of like your guiding light, so to speak. Being aware that no one on this earth is perfect, neither you, neither me, neither anybody that you see. Nobody is perfect. And making that sort of be okay. Not every person, not every situation, not every circumstance, or anything is perfect. And kind of recognizing a beauty in that. Because he's like, I love this guy's face in this deck. He's like admiring. Like, look at the lines in his face. He's seen some things. He's a man of a certain age. He's not like a spring, no offense, not like a spring chicken or like some young buck or anything like that. He knows life through and through, the good, the bad, the ugly, and he still is smiling a little bit. He's probably more smizing, as Tyra Banks would say. He's more smizing. So even though he knows the bad or the darker side of life, the more negative emotions, the more negative experiences in life, he doesn't let that deter him from being appreciative of the beauty that life is. That negative stuff, that bad stuff, that dark stuff contributes to the beauty. Like a painting. You know? If painting was only done with brighter colors from the colors, or from the spectrum, the color wheel, or the color spectrum, right? I personally feel that paintings or photographs or whatever are more dynamic, more interesting, more compelling to observe if you have those contrasts. It makes the piece, or it makes the photograph or whatever more beautiful. He would probably be someone who understands that. And I think that's possibly what your challenge would be, is to understand and appreciate that. Like, those darker times in your life, those not so great experiences in your life, they cumulatively contribute to the beauty that is your life, to the beauty that is the human experience, okay? Alright, so longest video goes to you. Woohoo! Pew, pew, pew. Let's celebrate. Not really. So that's your reading for September, Scorpio. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope something resonated with you here today. If it did, drop a comment in the like section. I'm going to take a break after this. Drop a comment in the comment section, and also hit the like button if you're feel so inclined. I also would love subscriptions and shares. All of that stuff is great. If you want to do it, cool. If you don't, I respect it anyway. And also, I've told all the other signs, but since I've talked forever with yours, I'm going to make it quick. One of the reasons I started this channel was because I was interested in meeting new people and connecting with new folks who are in my spiritual tribe or in my community, because it's been so helpful to me over the years, and so I just wanted to pay back. And so I want that to grow. I would love to meet and talk with more of you who I've talked with so far. I've enjoyed it. It's been great. But I'm kind of greedy. I'm like, I want more. And it's not because of a business thing. It's not a branding thing. It's not a money thing or anything like that. It literally is, I enjoy meeting and talking to people. And so in order to do that with this chosen platform so far, you know, YouTube has its little algorithms, and they're like, we like likes and comments and subscriptions and shares. And the more that you get of those as a creator, the more that they allow your channel and your videos to be spread and suggested to other viewers. So if you guys want to help me with that goal, cool. If you don't, if you're like, I hate you, I don't know why you watched this far anyway. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine. I respect that as well. No matter what your choice is, I'm into it, okay? I'll be back in about 3 weeks' time when I come and do your October reading, all right, Scorpio? So thank you again for watching. Take care, guys. Bye.